Nicolás Maduro is cornered, the United States Army is closer than ever, and panic among the Chavistas is total. The last few hours for Nicolás Maduro have been a complete nightmare, and that's because the United States increased the number of soldiers deployed on the coast of Venezuela. Trinidad and Tobago also supported the United States military deployment in the Caribbean. This has the Chavistas very angry. As if that weren't enough, France joined the party and now they'll have troops deployed very close to Venezuela. And also the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, is reportedly under investigation. All of this is happening, all of this is going on, and obviously Chavismo is in total panic to the point that they did the following. Look, a strong message from Maduro to Trump. Listen, little gringo, we are already prepared with Russian weaponry. We are waiting for you. What did Maduro say? Pay attention to this. Listen, little gringo. We are already prepared with Russian weaponry. We are waiting. With Russian weaponry, we are waiting for you. This Maduro, honestly, they're just ridiculous. They don't intimidate anyone, obviously. Let's see, I love it because here they say Maduro versus Trump, look how it would be. I think it's a perfect example. Look, right here, Nicolás Maduro provoking and Trump, bam. Game over? Is it the end of the game? That simple? But yes, while the Chavistas make a fool of themselves, the situation gets more complicated for Nicolás Maduro every day. Look, Trump is surrounding Maduro with a massive military operation. Troop deployment on Venezuela's coast increases to 6,700, including 4,500 Marines and 2,200 naval infantry. On board, 3 assault ships. This is in addition to what the United States had already deployed previously. There are 3 guided missile destroyers and a nuclear attack submarine. I mean, just imagine and Nicolás Maduro using old people. It's tremendous. Honestly, if the United States gets involved, Nicolás Maduro has no chance. The real question is whether the United States will intervene. To be honest with you, it's hard to know. Yes, I would love for the United States to come in right now and remove Nicolás Maduro. I would love that. However, we still don't know what will happen, what will take place. I imagine that for now, the United States is trying to put pressure on Nicolás Maduro to force him to resign. That's what I think. Obviously, Nicolás Maduro's resignation would mean reaching an agreement with the United States because Nicolás Maduro can't just resign like that. That's how it is. If he does, they'll jail him. That's reality. Or do the people capture and get rid of him themselves? So, obviously, Nicolás Maduro should reach an agreement with the United States and go to China or Russia with all the money he stole. I think that's what the United States wants. That Nicolás Maduro lives peacefully in a simple, straightforward way without any bloodshed. That's what I think. Another option I think would be to hunt Nicolás Maduro down with a drone. Yes, send a drone to simultaneously target Nicolás Maduro, Diosdado Cabello, Vladimir Padrino Lopez, and other Chavismo leaders. Imagine a military operation like that, or carrying out a secret operation, right? And at night or early morning, without anyone knowing, capture Nicolás Maduro and his group? That might be an option. That doesn't surprise me. It makes sense and seems logical to me. What I find unlikely is that the United States would try to attack directly. I mean that the United States would try to start a war and a direct confrontation. Because we've already seen what the Chavistas are capable of doing. The Chavistas are literally using human shields, which are the elderly, all these public employees, all these people are going to be used as human shields. That's the reality. So from my point of view, it would seem like a wrong strategy on the part of the United States because clearly the international community would turn against them. Since Nicolás Maduro would use this to play the victim and to say, look at how the Yankee Empire, the empire of the United States is capable of harming civilians. Obviously, all of this, even though Nicolás Maduro himself would be the one responsible for putting those civilians on the front lines. He would obviously be to blame. And obviously that's part of Chavismo's strategy, but well, clearly they would use it to play the victim. I guarantee it. So I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if that's going to occur. I find it unlikely. We also can't rule out the scenario that in the end, nothing happens. That's a real possibility, and it's been happening in recent years. However, it must be said that the fact that they significantly increased the reward for Nicolás Maduro to the point of making him the criminal with the highest reward of all time in all of history, plus the massive military deployment by the United States. I have to say, I find it quite peculiar, don't you think? They don't believe it or think so. I believe it's a very significant deployment, especially for the United States. I think that this time they might actually have a plan, a strategy, or at least that they really want to. This could be the end of Nicolás Maduro. We hope so, hopefully. I think everyone here wants exactly the same thing. That's why all of this is increasing significantly. Like, for example, what happened with the issue of Trinidad and Tobago? Yes, Trinidad and Tobago supported the United States military deployment, and that made Diosdado Cabello furious. And what about France? Hola, the issue with France. Look, breaking news. France announces the deployment of new resources to confront the criminal groups and cartels operating in the Caribbean. This is a reality. On August 23, 2025, they sent reinforcements to Guadeloupe. It's important to clarify that Guadeloupe is a French region and territory. So France reinforced security on the Caribbean island to deal with the activity of the Cartel of the Suns. Let's remember, the Cartel of the Suns is led by Nicolás Maduro and Diosdado Cabello. That is their organized group with which they distribute illegal substances. It's completely crazy. By the way, as if that wasn't enough, Gustavo Petro, the president of Colombia, made some rather peculiar, quite unusual statements that led to an investigation. Yes, right now he's being investigated as an accomplice of the Los Soles cartel. Be very careful with this. We'll discuss this in more detail tomorrow since it deserves its own video. Exclusive video. Gustavo Petro is outrageous. To the point that the following happened. Look, a United States congressman accused Gustavo Petro of collaborating with the Cartel of the Suns. After a post on Twitter X, he just signed his own sentence. Here, someone says, no one thinks that with that number of Marines, you can't invade a country, referring to the 6,700 soldiers who have been deployed on the coast of Venezuela. Let's see, I understand. In fact, that's exactly why I think it won't be an invasion as such. I think it would be a United States operation to capture Nicolás Maduro. That's what I think would happen if something were to happen, obviously. Someone here says, normally I'd say nothing will happen, but I really hope something does and soon. I think all of us think exactly the same. Thank you, do you agree? I mean, I think we all think no. Maybe nothing will happen. Maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe it's not going to take place. But it's like we have that desire for it to finally happen, for it to finally take place, for it to finally fall, Nicolás Maduro. Hopefully that day will come. But for now, things are intense. Nicolás Maduro is cornered and the nerves within Chavismo are at their peak. I mean, did you see that mobilization he did to call the militiamen? That's obviously not normal, that's obviously not common, and that tells us one thing, there's real fear within Chavismo. That they're in total panic and that they really do feel cornered by the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd really love to read your comments and I'll see you next time.